Afternoon. Welcome to today's edition of Tons. I'm Ted Wigsell from Your Business Community. Today I'm joined by Mac Laucher, who is the LinkedIn expert. Hello, Mac.
Hey, Ted, how are you doing?
I am good. Thank you. Thank you for joining us. Can you introduce yourself a little bit about your business, please?
So, my name is Mac. I've become a LinkedIn enthusiast over the last 10 years purely because of the fact that I've seen a lot of experts in their own fields not show up on or not be found or not get the reach that they need. And over the last 10 years, I've worked with the emergency services, I've worked with large security organizations, I've worked with accountancy firms, I've worked with gold medal Olympic athletes, I've worked with Royal Institute of Architects and helped the president be elected in a campaign for him. I've done all, but what I am really good at and what I enjoy doing is strategic networking, but using LinkedIn as a tool in order to be able to make that a success. Rather than just buying LinkedIn, there's a process to connect the dots.
Thank you. I'm going to ask you what people get wrong about LinkedIn. And when a lot of us are on LinkedIn, I did a bit of a complaint post a week or two ago. Got quite a lot of people taking notice of it. It's almost becoming business Facebook for some people, which is we're heading towards pictures of food. So yeah, what are people getting wrong?
So LinkedIn has, for a lot of people, one of the things that I think is really important to know is that changed a lot over especially the last 5-6 years. LinkedIn used for recruitment, headhunting, updating your CV, that thing. But now 65 people on LinkedIn show up purely for education purposes. So that's to see what their competitors are doing, see what's happening within the industry, all those kind of things, collaborate, build relationships, professional relationships. But the key things I see people get wrong is there are a few, but I'll go through kind of the main ones. Is just their public profile. A lot of people, once they set up their LinkedIn, they just never go back to settings, never revisit that. And they've looked at their own profile from somebody else's LinkedIn. And I suggest everybody goes and does that just so that you see what others see. And often it will be their public settings, the photograph is missing, or they have got a photograph, but it's not displayed to a first connection. So if you go to a networking event, connect with somebody, and then you search on LinkedIn, they've got a name that may be a popular name, and you've got 5 or 6 or 7 people on there, and you can't see their face, they're not going to send you that connection request because they're not certain if it's the right one because of your privacy. So make sure what people see publicly is what you want them to see publicly, and check in settings. The other thing is little things like the headline. So there are 3 things that follow you on LinkedIn: your photograph, your name, and then the first 40 characters of the headline. Wherever you comment, you engage, that's like you dropping your business card into a conversation wherever you go. But most people just have their job title, and that's duplication because the job title is actually in your experience section anyway. So don't duplicate and lose an opportunity. In those 40 characters, you want people to be able to look at your face, your name, and in the first 40 characters know almost immediately how you can help them. So make that clear. What problem do you solve? What industry do you serve? Make that very, very clear. The mistake I see, so there's this concept called 1990. Only 1 to 2% of people are actually posting content. So just by posting, you're 99% ahead of your competitors. Then we've got 2 to 9% of people that engage, comment, like, share. And about 90% of the people, those people that predominantly, most of them may end up being your clients in the future, they are the ones that just scroll, but they notice things. If you start using just AI to write your posts, which a lot of people are making that mistake where they just go, I'm an architect, write me a link post, and that's it. So they're not telling it exactly what they want and asking it maybe to rewrite or reformat or help them with grammar or that kind of thing. They're purely using it to replace themselves. And that's one of the biggest mistakes as I'm seeing, and all of us are seeing, because we can see when, if I go and write this highfalutin, professor-like post on LinkedIn, and people that know me are going to go, Mac, what's going on here? AI, move on. And then you lose your audience. So you can discredit yourself very easily by using tools the wrong way. But another mistake that very often is people look at what they think success looks like on LinkedIn. So they see somebody who has a lot of followers, or somebody who has a lot of engagement. And they think, well, I need to do what they forget is that person's been on a journey, and they're now getting the engagement that they're getting based on the history of what they've done to date. They didn't just post yesterday and now get 1,000 likes. They've been, I know people like, there's a guy called Jasmine Alec, if anybody wants great content, Instagram, 7-8 years to get the massive following that he now has and the engagement. But people go and copy his posts thinking, oh, I should write like him and I'll get the same result. And that's where the biggest mistakes are made, is trying to think that you can skip the hard work and the journey, the consistency, and the showing up on a daily basis.
So I started using Sales Navigator a while ago. And for those that don't know, you basically automated messages that you've pre-written to people. But then what's happening, I started getting really annoyed with receiving automated messages from other people. I pulled away from Sales Navigator because of that, because I thought that I'd be annoying people in the way that they're annoying me. How best to use Sales Navigator?
So Sales Navigator is really it's an outreach and volume tool. And the messages are not quite that automated. It's not as flexible as a lot of big CRMs are, as an example. But what it allows you to do, it's the version of LinkedIn. And they've recently started integrating. So it's actually got easier than what it was before, because when you went on Sales Navigator to search for somebody, it didn't then show you their profile on LinkedIn without going through a few steps to get there. But Sales Navigator is great to have a sales team, or you are somebody that needs to make a high volume of outreach calls or messages. And it helps you find your targets much easier than you can do on the free version. You can do it on the free version. There's some hacks that you can use. But ultimately on Sales Navigator, you can see somebody who's posted in the last 30 days, as an example, by you looking at a spotlight filter. You can look at the location. So if you want to really focus locally, you can work out and build a list of LinkedIn, people that are active on LinkedIn, that are local, that have posted in the last 90 days, and specific industries. So there's filters that you can. It's basically like a database on Sales Navigator, and you can message through it, as you say. But most people use it what I call a pitch slap. So they reach out, and the first message is a pitch. And in today's day and age, people say that we've all been sold to for generations, and we are more intelligent and a lot more equipped because of the technology that we have today. So being transparent really helps, but also doing your research. Just go, oh, I've got 1,000 contacts, I'm going to send every one of them the same message. Guess what? Your numbers are going to plunge and your conversion rates aren't going to be great. And one thing people don't realize is LinkedIn actually look at your conversion rates. So the worse you do, the less reach you get on your own profile, as well as the number of messages and that kind of thing. So quality over quantity. I always say sanity over vanity. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't take long, but if you spend an extra 1, 2, or 3 minutes per contact, just going and having a look at who they are, something in their about section, what have they posted lately or they haven't posted lately, what do they say in their company experience section, does the company post anything, then you've got knowledge to show that, hey, I actually took some time to look at your profile. One of the worst things I get on a regular basis is people reaching out to me saying, hey, I noticed that you're a founder on LinkedIn, just searched founder, and we can help you generate leads and help you with your LinkedIn. And then I look at their profile, and their profile hasn't been updated. They're missing a banner. Their headline is, not that great. And they started the position 3 months ago.
Yeah.
And I'm like, did you look at my profile? And second, we've just given you a clue. So anyway, hopefully that helps, Ted.
No, it does. Thank you. I've actually almost stopped accepting connection requests from BDMs, business development managers, because the pitch follows very shortly afterwards.
Yeah.
We had a conversation a little while ago, Mac, about verifying on LinkedIn. Do you want to tell our audience that?
Yeah. So verifying is it can be a pain, especially if you've got a more complex name. But also it's really important because from a cybersecurity perspective, LinkedIn are trying to ensure that they are protecting us as much as possible. So the company that they use to verify your identity, it's basically like going through passport control at the airport. It's the same organization. They don't keep the data because that's one of the things I wouldn't verify myself until I checked out how safe my data is. I don't want to give somebody my passport. So that they can go around the world on my behalf. I want to be there with the passport. So the key thing is the safety is there because literally they verify, they check your name, they compare it to the database on the passport database. And once they know that those two match, you get the little verification and then they remove data. So it doesn't stay on any certain example. But the verification process, people may not, I hesitated in the beginning because when I first wanted to verify, my name is, as you can see on the screen, Michael with a Machael, but everybody calls me Mac. And when they search Mac. And the challenge with that was that if I changed it to my full name, a lot of people wouldn't find me or wouldn't think it's me. And the verification process, you can go on. So if you look at my profile as an example, you'll see it says Mac and then Michael in brackets, Laucher. So it gives you an option once you've verified to go in any other known names. So what I've done is I put in my first name as it is on my passport in the other known names section. I put Mac in the first section, and the verification process has still stood. If you make major changes, then it will question. And if that is the case, just reach out and I can give advice on that. The verification base gives other users that security, knowing that this person's actually been a real person that's reaching out to me. Because as we know with AI and various other things, there are a lot of fake profiles out there that are reaching out and connecting to your connections without you even knowing it, and your credibility can go down very quickly. So it's really important. One thing lies, because stuck with this, is some passports, depending on the country that you're in, but especially have an NFC chip in the back of the passport. And if you've ever used a QR code, you use your camera to scan. So during the process, we'll say scan the NFC chip. So I sat there with my phone and my passport doing this, trying to see if it picks anything up anywhere in my passport. And I couldn't get past that process. But the reality is, on the back cover of a UK passport, as an example, the chip's actually embedded into the passport, and you have to slide your phone around the passport until it picks up the NFC chip. Then you hold it there until it actually takes all the information and confirms that it's a real passport. So please make sure that you take the extra step. But it makes a big difference. And 60% more LinkedIn statistics say that 60% more people will accept your connection request if you are verified, purely because of the safety feature.
Okay, very good answer, Mac. Thank you. And lastly, I've mentioned it to you in the past. Some people don't appear taggable, and I gather something in their settings that they've either done or mistakenly done. And other people can only be tagged by their surname and their first name. What's the story?
What's going on?
Yeah.
What's going on? This is something that I've interesting because I even found trying to tag myself. It wasn't working. I couldn't find myself. I was like, this is ridiculous. So everything on LinkedIn is effectively indexed in a way so that it can be searchable. Now, doesn't something really important. So what I would suggest, if you're searching for somebody and they can't come up, or even trying to search for yourself and that doesn't come up, is when you enter your name, instead of typing the full name out, just do one letter at a time and wait for the automatic population to come up. Found some things halfway through the name, it will come up and I'll find them. But then I add one more letter and they disappear. So that's something to do with the LinkedIn system and the servers and how they've indexed everything. And it is a bit of a mess. So it doesn't follow alphabetical order. It depends on where it was. Anyway, I won't go into too much detail, but the key thing, one letter at a time, and you will most probably find it. Sometimes it's first name, sometimes it's name, sometimes it's halfway. It's the first name halfway through the surname that comes up. But the key thing is just one letter at a time and you will find it. And if it's not the first name that doesn't work, do the surname. Because some people, their surnames are not as popular. As an example, if it's Smith. Like Wigsell, there are not many Wigsels around. So it's easier to do if they put in. But if they put in Ted in LinkedIn, they'll be there for years trying to find you. Because Ted is the first three letters of many other names. So that's important. Then with regards to tagging, a lot of people don't realize that in their settings, there is a button that you can click. And what I'd suggest is everybody goes and spends maybe half an hour, click on settings, and then on the left-hand side, you have a menu that talks about privacy, talks about data, content, all those things. And just go through and check whether your preferred methods are selected. So little things like tagging, there's a little toggle switch that if you click on that, you can have tagging off so nobody can tag you. And there is good reason for that, because there are some people, as an example, that are in very high up roles, or they might be in government, they might be in services, they might be in a sensitive role, and they don't want to be tagged in everything willy-nilly. So if that's your situation and you're in a position where you don't want to be tagged for security or privacy purposes, you can go and toggle that switch so that people can't do that. Again, with the tagging of the name. So really important to go and have a look. Does that make sense?
It
Ted,
does.
have I missed anything there?
No, it does. Thank you. So listen, that's the end of today's interview. What we'd like to do is invite you to be a speaker at a web in the next few weeks in May or early June, and where people other than me can come and ask their questions, and you can improve everyone's profiles on LinkedIn for them. Great, that'd be excellent. So today's edition of Ted Wigsell, Listens. I'm Ted Wigsell from Your Business Community. Find this video and others on our YouTube channel, on our website, and soon on our social media. So look out for those. Thank you, Mac, and see you again soon.
Awesome stuff. Thank you, everybody.
Cheers.
Okay.
Good.
Job done.